Hello there, and welcome to our new segment called What I Learned This Week. About what we learned this week.
What did you learn this week, Swifty?
This week I learned title. What I learned this week. Number 1. Don't leave your prints or books out overnight if you're tabling the next morning.
Yeah, we set up the table the day before, and when we came in the next day, all of our prints had curled.
Yeah, all the edges had curled inwards and the books were a little bit warped and wavy. We're not sure if it was because of dampness or humidity, or whether it was because of extreme cold or hot weather, because it was pretty windy that day.
Yep.
But leaving them out, we came back in the morning and they were all kind of weird and warped and odd. So we had to replace the ones which we'd previously put up on our display. Our advice is to leave all the stuff you're going to display on your table, under the table, the night before, and then get it out and put it up properly in the morning.
Yeah, everything that we had beneath our table in boxes was fine.
And when we put it up as well, it was fine for the rest of the day. Next, consider displaying all of your prints and possibly books out of the sleeves for the display versions that you have up.
Yeah.
This is because when you put something in a sleeve, it can reflect the light in a really unhelpful way for the customer, where it makes it kind of hard to see the design, especially if you have lights above or, I don't know, fairy lights like we had dancing off your packaging all the time. So if you take them out of the sleeve, they're super easy to see. We still gave people their prints in sleeves just to keep them protected, but for all the ones which we had up on our meshes, we made sure they were sleeveless so that you were able to see them a bit easier.
Yeah, it just meant that people approaching from any kind of angle to the table were able to see the art with its matte sort of. All the colours were intact.
The colours are the important part.
I like colours.
Next, Post-it notes. They are your friends. We brought some and they were super useful for making impromptu deals where we wanted to say 3 prints for 15 instead of their usual price. We could just write it on the Post-it note, peel it off, slap it on whatever, and voila! 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 Again. Voila! Then we could see what had a deal. We used this to modify prices, and we stuck little notes on the books like saying, pick me up, which were really visible. And just, like, if you forget something, it's really easy to write on one of these and just slap it on. They're really non-destructive. They don't harm your prints or your books or anything. And Post-it note pads are super cheap. And you can get all sorts of colours. Take them. They're awesome. I'm sure you'll use them for something. Next point. Card readers are super useful because a lot of people nowadays use card rather than cash. And even if they don't use card, at some point they're going to run out of cash and be like, oh no, how do I buy your book? I've got no cash. And you're like, ha ha ha, you can use your card, my friend. And they're like, oh no, I didn't think of that, now I have to spend more money. And you're like, well, you shouldn't have pretended you wanted it in the first place because now you're stuck buying it. So this is the Square Reader.
We bought this from the Apple Store while we were over in Leeds, and it meant that we had a UK-based card reader.
The problem being that previously we had bought Sum Up, the card reader, for Ireland, assuming that we could take it to the UK and use it there and just change which bank it was attached to. But in actual fact, once we'd entered our details in once, it was very difficult to change the bank. And you couldn't change the bank permanently, if I remember rightly. You had to basically tell them you were going on holiday to another country and then they'd let you use it in that country for a certain amount of time. Also, the euros that it was displaying the amounts in would remain in euros even when we were in England, which uses pounds instead.
And we would suffer a conversion rate for every purchase, which just wasn't worth it for us.
No. So confusing for the customer because they're seeing everything in euros, which is a different amount to the pounds, which you're saying is worth and that you're trying to charge them. Bad for the customer because they're charged a conversion rate on top of what they'd usually have to pay, or either that or it would be charged to us. So we ended up just going with a Square card reader instead. So SumUp still seems good, but just be aware whenever you buy a card reader to make sure you know whether you can change its region and whether it's going to work in the region that you're in before you put money down on that.
Yep.
Also, they work on iPhones and Androids. Square card reader works on both, so make sure that you have one of those. And it also needs an internet connection to work. Square card readers don't need that in America, but they do in the UK, as far as I know, because the offline mode isn't yet active. So what we did was we just got some data on our phones and we used 3G, and that lasted us a whole weekend on 5 gig. Like, we had loads left. It was absolutely fine, no problems whatsoever.
Yeah, each transaction was a small amount of data. It was good for us.
It was fast, simple, easy to use, looked good on the table. Everyone loved it. It was awesome.
In addition, the app also allowed you to track cash transactions, so we were actually using it as a way to track inventory and the amount of sales we're making over the weekend. So it was super useful for that as well.
Yeah, all our numbers we've calculated through that. So it's useful in multitude of ways. It's fantastic.
We didn't actually get to use this part of it either, but this is like for swipe cards. You can plug that into the microphone jack of your phone or your tablet device, and it will let you take swipey cards. But we only had like contactless or chip and pin. So
yeah, everyone just boopity-booped. They didn't even need to swipe. But that's an option if you need it. So yeah, card readers, good. Square card reader, good. SumUp, looks good. Didn't get to use it, but still looks good. Next point. Save money on book stands by making your own. With just cheap materials like foam board. I constructed this cleverly made, handcrafted book stand that easily slots together and can stand on any surface and support your book. It saves you the money that you would have to spend to buy a proper wooden one. It works just as well, and it's stylish and cool. This is not real size. I ran out of foam board, so I made you a tiny one for the video. Our comic's bigger than this usually. I am going to make you a handy template that I will drop for you to download. Next point. Have a display copy of your book instead of just copies in sleeves. Why?
Why indeed?
Tell them.
It's so that only one copy is available for them to kind of pick up and browse, and it means that only one book is sort of roughed up by the end of the convention. It also means that like you can have the rest of your stock behind you that you hand to them, that they get a nice fresh copy.
Mm-hmm. Hopefully it won't end up getting roughed up. But if there is someone with giant gorilla hands who wants to read your books, then he can grab the display copy that everyone else has already spilled coffee all over and browse to his heart's content. Also, people like to grab things.
They do. On
tables. They want to get their hands on what they're buying. So let them grab it and have a look and feel it and look at it.
There's something interactive and tactile about books, so that's one of your like unique selling points.
That's one of your selling points.
Yeah.
Sell that point.
Sell it.
Sell it.
Make it available.
It's available now. Next point. We had our table set up so that we were stood at one end and we had all the books and stuff you could buy at the other end. Because when I go to conventions, I'm quite anxious as a person, and I don't like the feeling of picking up a book in front of the artist and opening it in front of them and then watching me as I read it. Like, that's the stuff of my worst nightmares. I would rather shirk off into a corner and just read it in the shadows and then scurry back to buy it or just put it back and run away. So we found having a table that was kind of friendly to people like me who are scared to look at the stuff in front of your face really useful in drawing people in. So maybe consider standing at one end and having all your stock over here so that people don't have to come and stand in front of your face.
Yeah, it meant that anything in front of us was kind of the selling area, and people would sort of move into it when they were like, I want this, please.
Hey, I want this, please. Next point. Free stuff. Everyone loves free stuff. I love free stuff. You love free stuff. He loves free stuff. Who doesn't love free stuff? Give people some free stuff. They'll love you.
So we had bookmarks, and they're totally exciting. But with every purchase, we let people pick one of the 3 designs and then we were able to put that into the book and be like, here you go.
They seem to like the choice. So I think having more than one design of stuff is nice if you're going to give away badges or postcards or whatever it is.
Yeah.
I don't think it really matters what it is. But it's just a nice little token. It makes you feel good for giving it to them. It makes them feel good for buying something. It's nice that they get the choice, like I said, to pick which design they like the most.
Yeah, so pick something out of your stock that you're not going to make a lot of loss on, and people appreciate it.
Yeah, I would appreciate it.
Yeah.
I would like a free bookmark. You can send us free bookmarks if you want.
Yeah, and the thing with bookmarks or something like that is they have a function, so it's not just like a leaflet or a bit of paper that doesn't. Like, people use bookmarks, so they'll be more likely to be kept.
Like shoes.
One of the things we learned and didn't do was we didn't put contact details on the bookmarks, which seems obvious to us now, but it means that people are always retaining your information on the thing that they keep.
It's helpful. If imagine you open a book and you're like, oh, I remember that nice picture that I got at that convention. What was the artist called?
Doig Swift. Next pointer. Standing is great. India made me stand for the whole 2 days. It was great. It meant that we were on the same level with customers and we could interact with them on kind of equal footing. And we had the chairs to the side if we needed them.
Yeah, we had them leaned up against the table. It also meant we had a ton more room behind our table, which was awesome. Because when we had the chairs set up and we were sitting on them, there wasn't that much room to actually move around and grab stock or do anything, really.
And often we had to kind of switch places or lean over one another to get stuff. So.
Yeah, as soon as we put them away, we had a ton of room and we could like just wander around to our heart's content. So that was nice.
It also meant that people could see the banner behind us and it wasn't obscured by the chair.
So I understand that some people have back problems or tiring isn't tiring. So I understand that some people have back problems or standing is very tiring for them if they're going to do it for an extended period of time. But if standing for you is an option, then definitely consider doing that.
Definitely recommend it. Next point. Have a system. If you're storing like prints or postcards behind your table, have a way that you can easily access them. So that there is not a lot of time between a customer or someone coming up to your table and asking, I want that one, and you like rummaging around. So what we did is we had a cardboard box and all of our prints and postcards were stacked vertically, and then we had the like post-its. I think we actually had like little
we had little tags.
Yeah.
Like price tags.
That were divide each kind of section of the prints, and we could just sort of flick through them and find the one that we needed.
Like so. Yeah. It saved us tons of time and hassle because quite often when you're dealing with more than one customer, you have to flick through quite fast to find what it is you need. You don't want to keep people waiting. So that was really helpful to have a marker for each new design because they were all stacked in one big chunk. So just have a system, work something out that's going to make it really easy for you to find what it is you need to find, because you'll appreciate the time saved when it gets super busy at your table. It's
also a good way to keep it contained so that you're not like lifting up things to try and find things, or like you've not got all your things scattered in a big kind of horizontal arrangement. It's all there in one location.
Woo-wee!
Next point.
Have 2 people at the table if possible.
We are 2.
We are 2.
But
but
if you're soloing, then maybe you could ask a friend to help you out on the day. We had 2 friends help us out so that we could go around on Sunday morning, and they loved it, which was like
They found their calling.
I felt really apologetic, but they were like, it's fine.
Actually sold more books than we did on that day. Better at it than we are. But they were really, really cool for doing it.
Yeah.
It gave us the time to run around and look at stuff. But I'd say 2 people on the table is the most helpful thing in the world because it streamlines your entire process. So while Mike was looking for the stock that people wanted, I could just ask them which bookmark they wanted to have and take their money and deal with the change. So it was twice as fast to sell things to people and for them to be able to get their product and go and see the rest of the amazing tent and everything else.
And to leave us alone.
Let us go back to our cave.
That's all the points.
That's all the points.
That's all the knowledge we have.
That's everything we learned.
We've given you everything.
What are you going to do now? No, don't go. Come back. We have more to give. We have so much more to give. No, you